10. Students with autism spectrum disorder. IDEA defines autism as a developmental disability generally evident prior to the age of 3 and significantly affects individuals in 3 areas, which includes communication, verbal and nonverbal, social interaction, and academic performance. It is also important to be knowledgeable of how the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual, or DSM, of Mental Disorders defines autism spectrum disorder. The previous version of DSM included the broad category of pervasive developmental disorder, but the current manual has eliminated that term and adopted the term autism spectrum disorder, which encompasses autism disorder, Asperger disorder, and other related conditions. The definition of autism spectrum disorder in the DSM includes significant difficulties in social interactions, communication, repetitive behaviors, and fixated or restricted interests. Some cognitive and academic characteristics of autism spectrum disorder include rote memory, theory of mind, and problem solving. So let's take a look at those 3. Rote memory is the ability to learn by repetition or routine without understanding or attending to what is memorized. Because students with autism have a talent in rote memory, it may give off the impression that they understand certain concepts when in reality they do not. They just have memorized it. So it also may give the impression that individuals with autism can remember information at any time. However, these individuals may have trouble with retrieving the information memorized. Now let's take a look at theory of mind. Theory of mind is the understanding that others have different beliefs and perspectives that are different from one's own. So individuals with autism may have difficulty with explaining their own behaviors, recognizing that others may not know the answer to their questions, or comprehending others' perspectives. Now let's take a look at problem solving. Many individuals with autism have difficulty with identifying effective ways to solve problems. Although these individuals may be able to recite different problem-solving strategies due to their strength in rote memory, they may not be able to recall these strategies when needed. Some social and emotional characteristics of autism spectrum disorder include delays in language development, delays in social interaction and social skills, and difficulty with communicating intent, or the interest of communicating with others. Behavioral characteristics of autism spectrum disorder include self-stimulatory behavior and repetitive behaviors, difficulty with generalization, and difficulties with sensory processing. So according to North Carolina policy, to be determined eligible in the disability category of autism spectrum disorder, a child must demonstrate at least 3 of the 4 following characteristics: impairment in communication, impairment in social interaction, unusual response to sensory experiences, or restrictive, repetitive, or stereotypic patterns of behavior, interests, and/or activities. The disability must have an adverse effect on the student's or the individual's educational performance and require specially designed instruction. Instructional strategies and other resources that are useful for teaching students with autism include establishing classroom routines, incorporating social skills activities, sensory stimulation activities to help keep students grounded, calming activities to help de-escalate stressful situations, and providing tactile manipulatives or toys to aid in relaxation or neutralize any overwhelming emotions. So Chapter 10 provides details on various environmental supports, instructional strategies, and social supports for working with students with autism. And as educators and other professionals, it is important to remember that not all individuals with autism are the same. And like all students with diverse needs, we must meet the students where they are, build on their strengths, and support their needs to help facilitate positive and effective learning experiences. To apply what you learned in Chapter 10, review the section Understanding Autism Spectrum Disorders, pages 289 through 295, and reflect on the following questions. What are the key similarities and differences between the federal definition of autism and the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, or the DSM-5 definition for autism spectrum disorder? The most recent version of the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders has made historic changes to the information on autism spectrum disorder. What are the most significant difficulties experienced by individuals with autism spectrum disorder according to the DSM-5? Then review the section Identifying Autism Spectrum Disorders, pages 300 through 303. And reflect on the following questions. What are the typical assessments associated with identifying different dimensions of autism spectrum disorder? And after autism spectrum disorder has been identified, what is the process for determining eligibility for special education services? This activity is to encourage deeper reflection on the content presented in Chapter 10 and is not a required assignment.